This is A&E. To my surprise, well, not really, considering all the cuts the governments have made, the struggles of A&E, emergency care, that's why I was struggling to catch my breath. So I went to the hospital. I arrived approximately 4:35 p.m. and the process was so long. I was held in overnight. Come to find out that there is a possibility there is a blood clot on my lungs. This was a long process, a long night for me. Very worrying. This pregnancy and my overall health has slightly declined. I was discharged back home one day prior to this, so I spent the night at home, but I found it difficult to breathe when laying on my back. I have experienced this for a while. I was sent over to X-ray to do an X-ray on my chest. The X-ray came back fine. However, they had concerns because of my underlying heart problems, and also my family has a history of blood clots and heart conditions. So I was put on a monitor. The baby was checked also. This was approximately 11:30 at night, so I'd been there from around 4:30 to 11. I was then put into the emergency care unit in A&E. This was around 1 o'clock in the morning. I was given a blood thinner injection. I got hungry. I did pack myself a sandwich. I came prepared this time. So I managed to eat this. I was then checked for my blood pressure on the hour. This was about 4 o'clock in the morning. My back was starting to hurt at this point from sitting and waiting. I got given some paracetamol. I had my own water that I brought with me. At this point, I was told that I'm going to be transferred over to the maternity unit. This was approximately 6:30 in the morning. I was brought over into the maternity unit where I was waiting for the consultant to book me an appointment to check my lungs to see if they could find the clot. I was given some breakfast, some cornflakes. I'm not going to lie, it was kind of dead. At this point, I was getting fed up because the staff was so busy. A lot of them didn't know what was going on because they had to take over from the night before. So there was a lot of hustle and bustle. I decided to leave, take the train to go home, to check that everything was all right at home. I had to do my dishes that I left. My son was at home, so I tidied up and done some laundry and threw out the bin. You know, life has to continue at this point. I was still having shortness of breath. Even now, it's still happening. But yeah, I had to bathe and freshen up. I did bring things with me to the hospital in preparation, but it wasn't enough. So I thought, let me go and get my suitcase, because I was told that I'll be transferred to a different hospital and they weren't sure how long they're going to keep me in for because of the concerns over the blood clot that could possibly be in my lung, and also the fact that the baby's small, so it's a high-risk pregnancy at that. So yeah, I had to go home and sort out my house and do my duties and make sure everything is still smooth before returning back, because it was going to be hours for me to see a consultant and for the appointment to be made for the scan of my lungs, as I believe there's like a long waiting list or there's a long procedure. At this point, I was even thinking to myself, is it worth me going back, knowing how complicated everything was and how everything was so busy at the hospital. This pregnancy has been very difficult, and trust me, it's taken me a lot of strength to keep on going and to keep positive and stay organised and on top of everything. So yeah, I decided to just complete my tidying up, the laundry, have a shower, and bring my suitcase just in case I'd be in for more than a few days. One thing that I realised that the NHS is really struggling and people's health is severely at risk. This is the first time predominantly that I could say that I've felt the pressure of it and how it's affected my life personally. It does bring a sense of unsurety because the doctors and the nurses are trying, but I think they're just struggling with the amount of people that's coming in. Anyway, I managed to freshen myself up and making my way back to the hospital with my staff. I bought myself an ice cream to cool down on the way. I was put on the ECG machine. At this point, I realised that there was just too much going on. No one knew what was happening, so I just left.